Flynn's Arcade.
Hi, this is Flynn's Arcade, and this is my reaction to the trailer of the Joker 2, Folie, Deux. Before I start, please can you do me a favour and give the video a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And now, on with the video. I'm really excited about the Joker 2. I absolutely love the first film. I'm really into the idea of Gaga being in it because I'm actually a fan of hers generally. I like her music, but I also enjoy her acting. I thought she was brilliant when she was in American Horror Story, when she played a sort of version of a pop star persona. But I know she can also do naturalistic roles, as we saw in the House of Gucci. So I'm pretty excited about this film, so I wanted to do a reaction to the trailer. In the first film, we had a brilliant performance by Frances Conroy, who played Arthur's mum. And Robert De Niro also played well, he wasn't his dad, but he was a father figure in Arthur's mind. However, they got killed off in the first film, so now we're seeing Arthur without parents, attempting to grow up and make his way in the world, and this is what we're going to see. And I think it's going to manifest in him developing a relationship with Harley Quinn, who's played by Gaga. So now let's have a look at the trailer.
Hey Fleck, you got a joke for us today?
As we can see from the first shot, it's very, it's a very depressing start to it. Arthur looks like he's either in prison or in hospital. He's incarcerated in some way. He doesn't look like he's physically in a very good way. I mean, he's shaking and he looks frightened. However, there's a massive tone shift as soon as the music starts to kick in, and we can see that things are already starting to improve for him. When we first see Harley, it gives a real air of optimism to the film, and it really compounds what we've already seen. The voiceover describes what sounds like music therapy, so we can already see that there's something a bit more positive happening.
We use music to make us whole, to balance the fractures within ourselves.
And then there's this beautiful shot of the coloured umbrellas in the courtyard, showing that colour and beauty can be found even in the most darkest of situations. We've just seen Arthur and Harley bonding, and it raises a few questions, like who is Harley exactly?
I haven't done anything with my life like you have.
Is she a fellow patient or a fellow, prisoner even? Does she work at the hospital? I mean, do we know it's a hospital yet? Do we know it's a prison? But is she a member of staff, or is she a fellow inmate / patient? We don't know. She seems quite taken with him. So what's her relationship with him? Is she one of his acolytes? Because he had quite a lot of followers in the previous films. In the previous film, we just don't know yet. Now we see what looks like a fantasy sequence of a stage production, and it's edited with some realistic shots of the pair dancing on the street.
What the world needs now.
What does the stage production scene, what does it represent? Are the two actually having some sort of hallucination? As the title of the film suggests, it's is it a film about sort of a shared delusion between two people, or are any of these things actually happening? We just don't know. And also these scenes of, the stage production, and those are cut with a very disturbing scene of Arthur being dragged along the floor. Is this all happening in his imagination? I mean, does Harley even exist? I mean, what we're actually looking at now, we just don't know. Now we see Steve Coogan. If you're not from the UK, you might not appreciate that, but he's heavily associated with a really funny, comedic character called Alan Partridge, and so whenever I see him, I think of that. But then I think, who's he actually playing? We saw in the first film that Arthur didn't have a good time with his social worker. He appeared quite kindly towards him, but she couldn't help at all. Is Steve Coogan's character, is he a psychiatrist or another social worker, some sort of professional who could help him? I mean, is he the music therapist that we heard of earlier in the trailer? We just don't know, but maybe he's a positive influence. I hope he is, but who knows? Now we get for the first time we can see where the two probably are. It looks like they're having a romantic dance on like the roof of the Hotel Arkham, but as we know from the Joker story, he was actually a patient at the Arkham Asylum, so that really makes me think that's where the two are. I think they're actually in hospital together, but they're they're having a fantasy that they're actually on a romantic honeymoon. So even though they're in hospital, they actually feel like they're having a nice time on holiday. But how much of that is actually an unhealthy fantasy, or how much is that they genuinely care about each other, and to them they're actually on a honeymoon. So finally we round off with some scenes of chaos and manic laughter. But the closing scene where Arthur smiles, and he genuinely smiles, it's both beautiful and quite disturbing.
I want to see the real you.
But it veers more onto the side of beautiful. It's absolutely stunning, and maybe he's finally found happiness that's been cruelly denied to him throughout his whole life. So I'm left wondering what type of film Folie Deux will be. The last film was incredibly gritty. It was a film about urban alienation. I feel it was very much in the same vein as Taxi Driver. That was compounded by the fact that Robert De Niro, who was the star of Taxi Driver, played Arthur's would-be father figure in the Joker. So it's really dark, but I've heard that Folie Deux will be a musical, which is quite plausible because obviously we've got a very famous singer as as well as one of the cast now. So yeah, and music was quite a big feature in the last film because there's a lot of dance sequences with Arthur. So yeah, it's probably going to be a musical, and I'm just wondering if it's going to be a lot more optimistic in tone than the first one, because I am, based on what I've seen in the trailer, the fact it's got the song "What the World Needs Is Love," and that was the sort of arc throughout the whole trailer. That makes me think, is this film going to be a positive one in tone? I can't help thinking that this could be Arthur's proper redemption arc in this film. Maybe he'll finally, he'd never had any good relationships in the previous film. Obviously, his mum was terrible. He never managed to bond with the men who he thought were his dads, the one who personally wanted to be his dad. And Robert De Niro's character rejected him. The guy who thought he was his dad wasn't actually his dad. He never actually managed to find a real father figure. The professionals around him couldn't really help because he had a relationship with a social worker. He couldn't really do anything. So now I'm thinking, maybe he might finally be getting the proper care he needs in the hands of Steve Coogan's character, and maybe he's going to form a proper romantic relationship with Harley and actually get the affection that he's always craved in life and never really got. But then, are we just going to get the rug cruelly pulled out from under us? I just don't know. So I don't want to veer on the side of hope, lest I end up in despair with the next one, with this film. But I'm really looking forward to it. I was a bit nervous about watching the trailer because I loved the previous film so much, and it's always a big risk to, that with sequels that you'll feel let down in some way. But having seen the trailer, I'm just really excited to see the film when it comes out in the autumn. So yeah, I can't wait. So that's all from me. If you haven't already, could you give the video a like and subscribe to the channel? And unless anything comes up in the meantime, I'll see you next Sunday.